Hi. I think that I'm actually on time. 2 minutes late. Sorry about that. Hi, it's Elena of the Witches Box. It's our usual Tuesday live where we get together for an oracle reading for the community for the week, and then we hang out and talk about witchcraft things for a while. So, hi, welcome. And I see that there's probably a couple of new names here, so thank you for stopping by. Hello. Let me see what's been happening. I love when I turn on or open this window. There are people already in the chat box. I love it. Hello, Column, Abby, Curls and Pearls, Renee, Mimsy, Lourdes, um, Adrian, Cheryl, Elsbeth. I always love this because I feel like Romper Room. It's amazing. Marie, Preachy Goblin, Claudia, Sissy, hello, Sarah, Carla, Angela. Ooh, Arson, lovely. Bear Paw Shiloh's, I love it. Nancy Schmidt, Kim, Allison, and Ordained Reverend. I love it. Hello, welcome. Good morning. No, it's actually afternoon. Good afternoon. All right. Happy Tuesday. Happy new moon. We are in the middle of a new moon in Scorpio and an eclipse, and all sorts of things are going on. So I'm going to just jump into some quickie announcements, and then we're going to go into the things. For those of you who are in the Moon Ritual Coven, the modules for this new moon are already up. And this is the second one with a really lovely and extensive astrological report by Chiara Stellar, who's amazing. I want to encourage all of you who are like, I get questions a lot about who to go to for an astrological reading or a birth chart reading or a transit chart reading, all the things. She's the one, Chiara Stellar. And I believe, I'm going to look at my phone, but I believe that on Instagram, she is Chiara Stellar. And don't quote me on, hold on, I'm going to look just to double check. Don't quote me on the website, but I think the website is also Chiara Stellar, but let me make sure. Chiara. Yes, it's Chiara Stellar on Instagram. Find her. She's amazing, but she's the one who's doing our astrological reports for the Moon Ritual Coven. And in the next few days, you're going to be getting an email if you're subscribed to the newsletter about the big changes coming to the Moon Ritual Coven. I'm really excited about that. That starts on November 1st. And let me think really quick before I say it, because we're the last week-ish of October. No, this is the last week of October. The price for the Moon Ritual Coven is going to go up on November 1st. If you are already subscribed, you're going to get grandfathered in. Your price, your charge won't go up. It'll stay at $27. It's not a big leap in price, but every little bit counts. So that's a savings for all of you. So if you have been thinking about joining the Moon Ritual Coven, but you don't know, you haven't, you're thinking, do it before the 1st, because after the 1st, the price will go up. It's a monthly fee. And I think that that's it for Moon Ritual Coven announcements. The books for the November box have begun to arrive a little later than usual, but that's okay. They should start being mailed out, the November boxes, by next Wednesday. Don't fully hold me to that, but they should start going out by next Wednesday, which is exciting. And there are 4 books. 4 books in this box. It is amazing. You have reading for the rest of winter. That is the whole point. I'm super excited about that. And there was another announcement that I needed to make. Told you about the box. Told you about the Moon Ritual Coven. In the next 2 weeks, hopefully before then, I will be announcing the dates and the location for next year's Ancestral Initiation Live Retreat. It will be in England. So I'm super excited about that. So that'll be happening soon. And I think that that's it. There's something else, but now I don't remember what it is. So let me look at what is going on here in this box. You're new here, Erison. Welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. And your name, again, triggered like a very far off memory of what I'm supposed to be announcing, but I'm not remembering. Yeah, I feel like I told you all the things. Oh, hi. Hello. So tomorrow at 10 a.m. here, Pacific time on YouTube, live streaming, we're going to be talking about the throwing the bones box. It is available and free for everyone. It's alive. We're going to be just talking about those of you who received the box, questions and answers about using bones for your divination. And even those of you who did not receive the box, you're super welcome to come and hang out. And we'll be talking specifically about that divinatory process. So be here. It's like a 3 live week. We're going to be live today, obviously, and we're live tomorrow, and I'll be live again on Friday for a live guided meditation. Friday is also, let me just, because, calendar. I mean, look, Friday will be the 28th. So yeah, it'll be a couple days before Samhain, which we can do a lot of discussing about that then. Not a lot of discussing. We're going to do more experiential stuff around that on Friday. And then the other thing, it's not going to happen in time for it to happen before Samhain, but we have been talking about through, especially here, the whole live watch party where we get together as a community and watch a witchy movie at the same time. I have mostly figured it out. I haven't written the directions for everybody else, but I think that the first weekend, let me look again. I think we can do it. I got to double check with my life, but I'm vibing like the 5th of November, which is a Saturday, doing like a practical magic movie watch. Well, we can all get together and watch at the same time. And apparently on Amazon, when you have a live watch party, you all watch it at the same time, and then there's a chat box so we can talk with each other while we watch, which I think so totally fun. And the only bummer that I didn't know about, is that everyone actually has to pay. The movie right now is $1.99 for a rental on Amazon Prime, but we all apparently have to pay in order to watch. So there's that. But I figured $1.99 isn't a bad deal to kind of get together and watch a movie. So information on that will also be going out pretty soon. So be on the lookout for that. Hello, Chava. Chava says, Elena, we talked about a Lilith book last week. It's actually 2 books. Journey to the Dark Goddess and Embracing. Hold on. Journey to the Dark Goddess is by Jane Meredith, yeah? Or is it another one with that name? We can talk about this after the Oracle reading, but let me write it down because, Journey to the Dark Goddess. And then I have Embracing Lilith. Yeah, I have that book. I love her. It's a love affair over here with Lilith, I gotta tell you. What time is that tomorrow? Radiant Life, that's at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So it's earlier than this. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. I know, movie time together. It'll be a little challenging movie time. I'm going to try to figure out a time on it's Saturday so that most people are free for the most part. And hopefully it'll be a time that will allow people across the globe to watch. Because I know, some of you who are in Europe and some of you who are in Australia, and so we'll try to make something work. At least as much as I can for most people. Marie, hello. I introduced that movie to my daughter on her last visit. She loved it. The witches that we are judging and talking about this. It's such a good movie. I know that everyone is super excited. I haven't watched Hocus Pocus 2 yet. And I know that everybody's super excited about it. And I did. I thought Hocus Pocus, the first one, was fun. Right. But it's not by any, like, my favorite is Practical Magic. Like, that's the one, you know what I'm saying? And then I think that if I were to rank all like pop culture, witchy things, TV as well as movies, not that you asked, but here we are. Practical Magic is my first and all favorite. The second one wasn't witch focused, but there were certainly witches in it. But I loved every single thing about this TV show because I'm a twisty, what is it from Grey's Anatomy? I'm a dark and twisty girl. True Blood, which really wasn't about witches, even though there were witches in it, Loved everything about that whole thing. Charmed. I loved Charmed because I'm also into like the 90s fashion of the girls. Um, and that's kind of like those are my favorite, although I have some challenges with the actress. I feel she's a little too flat. But A Discovery of Witches, is that what it's called, that TV show? I don't even know what it's a book series. I think it's Discovery of Witches. I love A Discovery of Witches. So there's a lot. There's a lot that we can maybe see together, which would be fun. Okay. But I also love this idea of introducing your kids to your favorite magical witchy TV shows and movies. I think that's fantastic. Hi, Curls and Pearls. I have a date tonight with Matt Aron's new book. Oh, really? I think a lot of you might have a date with that book soon. Just saying. I liked True Blood. Me too. Lafayette was amazing. Charmed, the original. I'd never watched the reboot. Like once it's done, I don't want to watch a reboot. It's very rare for me to watch a reboot of something. Let me think. Yeah, I don't know that I watched a reboot of anything. Like I usually like except for Dune, but that's a whole different thing. That's a whole different topic. Okay, I love Witches of East. Oh, Witches of Eastwick. I love that one too. Oh my god, we should maybe do like a whole. Oh, let me think. Let me plan. Let me see what my husband and I have going on the weekends, and maybe we could do more of these. I have to run for now. Bye, Chava. Take care. We'll see you later. Okay, let's focus. Let's do an oracle reading. We're back. We're still with this deck because, as you know, I mean, it's so beautiful. Hello. By Juliet Diaz, Lorraine Anderson, and illustrated by Giada Rose. I mean, every card. Every card. It's amazing. So this is the one that I pulled. Oops. Intuition. For those of you who love the numbers, it's 23. And the blurb says, you hold the answers, you know the truth. Ancient ones await behind the doors of the mind. So instantly what came to mind when I pulled this card, so many of us, probably all of us at some point or another in our spiritual path, work at strengthening that intuitive muscle, or strengthening our capacity to hear our intuition, because it's our truest internal guide. But if you've done any of that work, you know that accessing that true north voice can be a little challenging because we have a lot of other things going on inside. We have our mind that can reel with stories and reel with assumptions, and all of the lenses that we hold based on our life experiences, our unattended to wounds, our very active wounds, right? Sometimes it's like you need to know what your what the true intuitive voice is telling you to do, and it's hard to access it because there's a bunch of other things going on, and it can be really hard to trust. Like, how do I know if this is my intuition, or is it me just going cuckoo over the thing that's like I'm obsessing about, right? It can be a really challenging to discern. What is the voice of my reactionary mind, and what is the voice of my true intuition? And for most of us, it is a lifelong practice to keep honing that capacity to hear and to listen to that real voice, not the one that's like shrouded in emotional reactivism and all the things. Yeah. So when I pulled this card up, it brought up questions, and then it brought up answers, which is, what are the things that we can do to continue to clear the field so that the only thing that we're really hearing is our intuitive voice? How do we move past the stories that we tell ourselves and everybody else about our limited thinking or our wounds, or, we project a lot of these things onto the world and it shapes our reality, but it's not the voice of our intuition. It's the voice of our wounding, of our reaction, of our fears, of our unattended to stuff, right? Like this is how it works. And it is also why I repeat myself over and over and over again that the path of a witch necessarily has to include self-inquiry, personal healing, and deep, deep self-knowing, because that is what also allows you to be able to, over time, get clear about, oh, this is my intuitive voice and this is my reactionary voice. And those are very different. They feel very different. The way they move is very different, but it's hard to make that distinction when we're caught up in the stuff. Yeah. So I'm not going to give you obviously a comprehensive list, but there are things that we can do over time that help us distinguish between one voice and the other. Meditation on a regular basis does this. Therapy certainly does this. A lot of people are doing, again, do this responsibly, but a lot of really exciting work around psychedelics and how it helps to unravel those threads that can be really hard to get through mentally, emotionally. Really getting, a lot of this revolves around practice, really spending time. One of the things that is not witchy, but she's a witch. I mean, maybe she's not. She might disagree with me. I don't know her. Back in the day, I know most people know what this book is, but Julia Cameron wrote The Artist Way, maybe early 2000s, late mid 90s. It's a massively best-selling book. It is one of the better books out there about really coming into presence with your creative life. It's a great book. If you've never read it, get The Artist Way by Julia Cameron. In any case, in that book, she's got a couple of different practices that help keep your pump primed. And it's specifically around being creative, but she talks about the morning pages, where every morning before you do anything else, you wake up and you do a full-on brain dump of is it conscious writing, unconscious writing? There's a word for it, but now it's escaping me, where you just write. You don't lift your pen off the paper. You're not telling a story. You are literally doing a brain dump where whatever comes into your mind, you dump onto the page. It doesn't have to be grammatically correct. It doesn't have to be full sentences. It's literally whatever is coming up in your brain. You write down 3 straight pages. You don't stop. You don't take the pen off the page. And even when you go through moments where you're like, I have nothing in my brain now, you write that down. I don't think I have anything in my brain down, but it's a dump. This to me has been one of the most powerful exercises that I've ever learned. I have done it on and off throughout my life, but what it does is it helps exorcise that chatter, a lot of that chatter, so that once you're done and you do it regularly, you start to realize once that's out of my brain, it's a lot quieter. And the voice that does come up tends to be much more that of my intuition than my stuff, because I've already dumped my stuff onto the page. The other thing, as with any type of journal writing, what starts to happen is you start to get really clear about, oh, there's a pattern here. My monkey brain, my reactionary brain has a pattern of stories. And once you can ID those stories, like, oh, I always rattle on about this, I'm always obsessed about this, it becomes very intellectually, which is helpful, intellectually easier to know that, oh, this voice has nothing to do with my intuition. It's a tape that keeps playing. And so when you're able to kind of pull away from it enough to like observe it and see what that pattern is, when it comes up inside of you, you already know, this is my reactionary mind. This is not my intuition. So that is one of, I think, a really powerful tool to use for growing your capacity for discerning between your monkey brain and your deep intuitive voice. So that's what came up. What are the things that we can do to be more clear about what our intuitive voice is, what our intuition is, and being able to tap into it? So I would suggest for this week and beyond, explore 1 or 2 of those things that I suggested, or other things on your own where you can establish like a mini practice that doesn't add a million hours to your day, but something so that you are in a constant state of refining your ear, your inner ear, around, is this my intuitive voice or is this my reactionary voice, and how to make that distinction easier and easier over time. So there it is. This is the card. If you're just joining us now, you can go ahead and catch the reading on the replay, but there it is. It's a beautiful card. Yeah, I really love looking at this photo. It's really gorgeous. So there's the reading. And there is a lot going on here. So let me back up. Yeah, okay. Yes, discovery of witches. Yes, I know. So I forgot about the Discovery Witches. It is very amazing. I think that there's another season coming, right? I don't know. American Gods, but this is a series. I have I want to watch American Gods and I have not yet. I'm you know, I'm a growing Neil Gaiman fan. Okay. Hold on. Curls and Pearl says, I've been struggling with meditation lately. I always seem to fall asleep. That's okay. It's a practice. You always show up brand new to the next session. It's all good. And we might find that. We might find that because falling asleep is common, you get into such a relaxed state that you just kind of doze off. Or, and this is part of like discerning where those voices come from and what they are, because sometimes when we start to hit up against something that we really wants to be seen or needs to be kind of brought up, meditation will do that. But there is in us a defensive mechanism that's like, I'm out. I don't want to look at that. I'm not saying that that's for you, but that's a possibility. Either you're so relaxed that you're just going to fall asleep and that's totally okay, or there's a part of you that's like checking out. And what do you do for that? You just show up the next day and do meditation again. And if you fall asleep, you fall asleep, and if you don't, something might come up for you. But that's the nature of practice. No judgment. You just show up. Whatever showed up for you in that moment is what needed to be there, and now you know. Also, I don't know about you, it is much colder here where I am, and being colder tends to make me like sleepy, like I want to curl up. And so depending on the season, I think we're more apt to fall asleep as opposed to not. The Old Ways on Netflix is a good one too. I don't know what that is. The Old Ways. The Old Ways Netflix. Right now on Netflix, I love this show. I don't know why I cry so much. It's ridiculous. But The Great British Bake Off, or The Great British Baking Show, their new season is on, and it has nothing to do with witchcraft, but the cooking and everyone cheering for each other and the heartbreak when the thing doesn't happen. It's like such a feel-good show. I love it. Hey, Miss Esther. I was just saying earlier, I don't know if you were here when I said it, that in the next couple of weeks, I will be announcing the England live retreat. So just be on the lookout. Okay. Adrian, I often have trouble trusting that it's my intuition, but I have noticed that I feel intuition in the body, that deep-seated knowing. The other tends to be seated in the mind. Yes, that is a beautiful distinction. Absolutely. The body knows. And that also brings up the other thing, which is sometimes the voice isn't the voice. Sometimes the voice is a feeling, like a sensation in our body. If something clenches, that's your intuition talking. If something relaxes and opens, that's your intuition saying something. So yeah, I love that you brought that up. Thank you for bringing that up. Callum, hello. I love that. I tend to do intuitive ghost writing in my head if I'm away with the fairies. There's a certain tone and gut feel when it's my intuition. Absolutely. You will notice that over time, that there isn't a lot of, at least for me, my intuitive voice. Okay, there's noise outside. My intuitive voice is rarely urgent or rarely emotional. There is definitely a very solid, grounded feeling in my body when that voice comes up. Like things are just in alignment in a really particular way. When I'm in a story or I'm just projecting and I'm like in reaction and not quite catching it, there's a lot of emotion, a lot of urgency, there's a lot of anxiety. Oftentimes when people will ask about like, well, what if you're in danger? Your intuitive voice says, get out. Even then, it's a very clear, very solid, you got to go. It's not this, it's not that. The intuitive voice tends to be a very solid, very clear awareness without a lot of extra energy around it. And that's true for me. That might not necessarily be true for you, but there is definitely a commonality there, that the intuitive voice doesn't have a need for all of the emoting that the rest of us tends to do. And the body is absolutely tied into that voice. Never discount the body. The body is like a massive part of both our entire existence, but also our magical. It's like one of our best magical tools. Okay, I don't know that it's coming up on the microphone, so I'm not going to talk about it. But if there's a noise in the background, sorry, there's stuff going on outside. And yes, bear paw, breath work absolutely is a good thing to do. Really helpful. Hold on, because I just skipped. Where's bear paw now? So yes, breath work is also a really fantastic practice for that. And breath work for me tends to come into play with a lot with meditation, not necessarily the same thing. But breath work helps you presence in your body and also helps things settle and relax. And then that can give rise to space for your intuitive voice to kind of shine in the middle of what other noise you might have going on. Esther says, as a thriver from deep trauma, therapy was key in healing. Journaling, letting the goddess in was huge in learning to quiet my mind. Triggers can often be confused for intuition for people with trauma. Absolutely. Absolutely. But when you create internal space with yourself, doing those things that you mentioned, at some point in our healing path, we begin to like grow in space enough where it's like you can observe it. I'm in reaction. I'm triggered. I don't know what's going on. I don't necessarily know what's just triggered me, but I'm triggered and I'm running on the trigger. I'm not running on the intuition. This is one of the beautiful things about these practices. It's not that it eradicates your wounds or the traumas of the past, but it gives you space to be able to pull away from it enough to recognize it and see it for what it is so that you can make a different choice. So in that sense, things like meditation are also and therapy, powerful tools for just being able to maneuver through your life without being run by those unconscious triggers and unconscious like drives that were placed there by traumas and difficult events in your life. This is how we begin to heal. It's not necessarily that those things get erased. It's that now we know how to dance with it. Oh, I'm totally triggered, right? I need to take a moment. I shouldn't give a response. I shouldn't answer. I just need some time. You have enough space to make those choices for yourself. Meditation is great for that. Therapy is phenomenal for that. In fact, I think everyone at some point in life should at least go to therapy for at least a year, at least once. And all of this is deeply important to your witchcraft path, to your spiritual path. Absolutely. Curls and Pearls, yes, the trusting that it is mine is big too. And I always pull the Two of Swords. That's a big card for you. Beautiful. Oh, Esther, baths and floating is great to connect within too. And Reiki, breath work, even walks in nature. Consistency is vital. Consistency is absolutely vital. Affirmations to reprogram my conscious mind. Consistency is vital to a practice. I know that it's like, oh my God, we're so busy. We have so many things. But when you prioritize something, the rest of your life over time starts to reorganize around what you prioritized. As witches, as people who walk a very specific spiritual path, our practices are what hone us. Our practices are what get us deeper into the experience of what life is, which is celebratory and beautiful, even in the pain, even in the loss. But ours is a path of connection. And so things like taking a walk in nature and doing that consistently can be a beautiful meditative practice, especially for those of you who are very kinetic and have a hard time just sitting still, silent, and breathing. You can do deep breathing while you're walking, enveloped by nature, and then that can be your meditation practice. But there are beautiful ways to get creative around that. The key here is presence, and the key here is also to be in your body. So this is where the breath comes in. The breath is very, very vital to being in the body. Yeah, the breath is magic. Okay. Ouch. Okay, so Radiant Life, just double check. I hadn't heard of this. Just double checked the name of the show I was referring to, and it's Witches of East End. Hold on. I'm having a memory. Witches of East End was a TV show, right? Where it was almost like two warring families, and the mom and her daughters were witches in a house, and the mom had a sister that was living there. Is that what I'm thinking of? Because that I think was good too. I think I liked it, but I never really saw much of it. Adrian says, I loved Anne Rice's Mayfair Witches books, but I'm not sure about the upcoming series. I actually never read those. I might want to check those out. Curls and Pros, yeah, I've worked 70 hours this week, so I know if I try, I will pass out in 5 minutes. So sometimes you're just exhausted and you need to sleep. Houston crime is keeping us busy down here. Oh, I can't even imagine. Esther, if the monkey mind takes over during meditation, I'll think my thoughts literally and then go back to breath focusing and take an outtake. Beautiful. Exactly that. Ay. Hold on. Abby, not sure if you answered already. Sorry if it's duplicate. Timing for the moon coven rituals if we can't be online. New moon, after full moon, dark moon. Okay, hold on a second. Let me make sure I understand what you're asking. Not sure. Oh, I see what you're saying. So if you can't be on time with the rituals for the moon, the new moon is probably, well, the new moon and the dark waning moon is probably the most forgiving in terms of timing. So the new moon, you can do it the minute the moon turns new, right? All the way through if you want up until the full moon, because it's really about working with that new waxing moon power or energy. The full moon, for the purposes of what we do, I would say up to 2 to 3 days before the full moon and then at the full moon. But the full moon is very finite, right? So when it's like done being full, it starts to wane. And that's when you don't want to do any full moon work at that point, depending on what it is. Every so often, I'll send a ritual where you're working with the minute the full moon starts to wane, and we'll try to ride that energy. Excuse me, we haven't done that, I think, in a few months though. And then working with the dark moon, if you're not really needing to work with the moon in that particular sign, the waning dark moon can be any time after like I don't quote me on this, but like the last week. So you've got like the full moon, and then before the full moon turns into a new moon again, you've got about a 2-week period. So like a week before the new moon. So you have like wiggle room there if that's what you're asking. If what you're asking about, no, I think that's what you're asking. So let me know if I got that right. Alexis, yes. Next September, England retreat. It'll be near Glastonbury. I cannot pronounce that correctly, but I will learn how to do that soon. It'll be near Glastonbury, or is it Glastonbury? I think it's Glastonbury. First-ish, second-ish week of September. There is also a goddess conference going on in Glastonbury in August that I'm going to try to be at. So that is when it's happening. So in the next 2 weeks, I should be announcing dates and details for all of that. It will be again for the ancestral initiation work. For those who have already done that work and may want to come to this next one, there will be additional ritual work for those of you who've already done the mask and done the identity work. But the places that I'm looking at are beautiful. The countryside of England is just magical. And it'll be a little longer so that we have some time to actually go into Glastonbury and do some ritual in the white well, the white chalice. What I always get the red, it's a red well and the white chalice, yeah? The spring. We'll be able to go into the cave of the spring and do rituals in that place. And I think that would be beautiful. And then just have like a little touristy day in Glastonbury as well. So it'll be a big one. There is a possibility, I don't know yet, so don't hold me to it, but because going to a whole other country is a whole other thing, I may actually do 2 retreats back to back with different themes, but that information will be later. So that's where we're at right now. There will be potentially one more retreat next year that'll be stateside, but I don't know the dates to that yet. So here, that's where we're at. Yes, it lacks the drama, the intuitive voice. Callum says, yes, so much yes. It's a very solid voice and a cold cloak around my shoulders, plus a kind of hollow in my gut that lets me know it's my intuition. Beautiful. Wait. Hold on. I lost my place again. Bye, sissy. We'll watch you later, or we'll talk to you later. Do you happen to have a podcast? Are you talking to me? Because no, I'd love to do a podcast, but I have yet to really get my schedule in a way that would allow for that. Yes, so Mimsy says, do deep breath or breathing while washing dishes or other mundane things can become meditative. Everything can become meditative. This is one of the things that I love about Buddhism and Hinduism in its various forms. The practice of presence and how important it is, and not just important, but how easy it is to access the practice of coming into presence by doing very mundane things. There's a book, what is it? Chop wood, carry water. It's an oldie book, but it talks about when you're, whatever you're doing, be in the act. Let each act be its own meditative practice where you are in your breath, in the act, and nothing else is there. That can also become a deeply beneficial meditative practice when you're washing dishes and you're really paying attention to the intention. I'm cleaning the dishes. These are holy tools that feed and nourish me and my family. And you care for what you're touching. You really give it your full presence, your full service. That is a beautiful meditative practice that you can apply to everything in your life. Not only does it change the way you do everything, but it also begins to cultivate that inner listening. So we have many, many, many opportunities for cultivating that inner ear. Hold on. I think mom and two daughters. I think that Radiant, I'm thinking of the same one. Esther, I arrived late today. Was the November box announced yet? And I read above about books. Will you be releasing books again? So Esther, the next box is, there's going to be 4 books in the November box. I'm not going to tell you what it is, although I gave a big hint to one of them because somebody's reading one of them. So it's really about like a winter fall reading box, and you're going to get 4 books. 3 of them have just been published, and one of them I have to look. It's a recent publication, but it's not just now. I think it was like sometime earlier this year was released. So you're getting some yummy yummy books. Okay, perfect. Yeah, Abby, thank you. Esther, I love the questions. I'm full of questions today. Will the 2023 lunar calendar be out soon? Would you consider doing a witchy calendar with holidays, goddesses, and herbs? So, announcement time. We're not going to be doing another lunar calendar. I'm sorry. In the future, I would love to do like an actual calendar book or a day planner book with all the dates and the goddesses and the herbs and the moons and I would love to do that. That is not something that's on the list for any time anywhere soon. We have, as you know, a lot of bigger things going on before that. But we will not be doing the lunar calendar for this next year. They're beautiful and Tree does a gorgeous job with them, but partly because we're trying to figure out a way to really reduce the amount of shipping, paper, footprint. Like it's just become so much. And I recognize that to say that I'd love to put out a book means a lot more shipping and a lot more paper, but I'm trying to shift how that works. So no, sorry, we're not doing that. It's very sad. Although what I will say, because we're not going to be doing much of these anymore either, for this November box, there will be extra for those of you who weren't subscribed. But for this November box, there will be those famous bookmarks that everyone keeps asking about. There's going to be bookmarks in the box, as well as the book belongs to stickers that everyone loves. So you get that. How many people will be available to go? Because I'm trying to go to this retreat. You mean to ours? To the one ancient, what am I talking about? What is it called? Ancestral Initiation Retreat in September in England. I don't know yet. That's a good question. I really want to make it a much larger group. I mean, by larger, it's relative. It's not. We've had in the past anywhere between 7 and I think 13 people at a retreat, which is a great, both of those are great numbers for big work. But there are huge, like palatial spaces in the countryside of England. And I'm thinking like 16 might be good. There's a couple of places I'm looking at that will allow for 20. 20 is kind of at the bigger end. It's a little probably at my limit, because holding energy and being together, you want an intimate space. So that's kind of what I'm playing with. What will happen is that it will be announced in the next couple of weeks, and people can obviously register whenever they want, in terms of like, as long as rooms are available, you can register. I will open up registration fairly quickly once it's announced, so that people have a while to prepare. Going to a different country takes more work, especially for those of us who are in the United States. If you've never traveled before, there's more involved. I know that we have a European contingency, and travel throughout the European countries is super, super easy. But for those who are like in the Americas, or there's one person in Australia who wants to come, like, it's good to give like some lengthy notice. So, because of all of those reasons, I'm going to try to have more spots available. So we're looking for a place that will house us all. And then we have to, I don't know. I'm really excited. And then you can all meet Tree and Emily, who are in England. So, we're kind of like is it bi-coastal? I don't know. Bi-hemisphere? I don't know. We are a business that's spread out across the Northern Hemisphere. Okay, hold on. I see something that's important. Um, it's Glastonbury. Okay, so I thought that it wasn't Bury. I thought it was Bury, even though it's spelled Bury, but it's Glastonbury. Okay, I can do Glastonbury. That's close to what I've been saying. Um, Yay books, I know. These are good books too. I mean, they're good books. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really excited about them. 1, 2, 3 of the authors are authors that we've showcased before, authors that we love. All 3 of them just came out with new books. Yes, one of them is Matt Aron's book, and if you get doubles of that, please pass it on to another witch that you know would love the book. And then the other is an author that's new to me. Okay, hold on. I'm going to turn this off. The other's an author that's new to me, but well loved. So I'm excited about this book. And it's also, I think it feels like a great cozy book for the season in the Northern Hemisphere. So there's that. And right now, half of the books are in the workshop, and it's like church for me. When I walk into I mean, obviously look at my life. When I walk into the space with all those books just kind of piled up, waiting to be put in boxes, it just feels so good in there. Yeah, everyone's all about the books. We're all about the books. I did for a hot second. I mean, I don't want to say this out loud because I can't even imagine what you're all going to say, but I have thought for a hot second, what if the witches box just turned into the witches books, but like on steroids? But like, getting 3 to 4 books every month is a lot, right? A lot of you had a hard time keeping up with 2, and I get it, because reading can take time. But for a hot minute, I thought, what if we just did books? Because the higher price of the witches box would cover, we're not doing that, but that did cross my mind. Mint Fairy, it would be awesome to have you there. And the thing is that we have, I haven't booked her because I don't have the actual dates yet, but the chef who cooked for us at the Ancestral Initiation Retreat is amazing. The food, I want to cry just thinking about the food. It was so good. So I want to bring her. So we'll have someone cooking for us. And all of the places that we're looking at have beautiful garden spaces. They're in the countryside. English countryside is just unlike anything else. And we'll be doing rituals and work on our own, but then we'll be going into Glastonbury, which, is like kind of a mecca. The Glastonbury tour, the red spring, the white spring, there's just so much. And then there's also Star Child. It's amazing. It's like one of the best witchy stores ever in Glastonbury, and there's good food in like there's just so much to do. So it'll be like a retreat on steroids, because we will do a little touristy stuff, but we're going to be doing like the big work as well. So I am like so excited. Okay. So for those of you who really feel like you want to go and you don't have your passport yet, just start getting your passport. Even if you don't go to the retreat, everybody needs a passport. Get your passports. Hold on. More the extra, yeah. Extra bookmarks. I may make extra. Don't hold me to it. By country company. Thank you, Mimsy. Yeah. Well, I've Bear Paw. I have been. Is that a true story? I've been trying to add more books. Like the last box had a book in it, and I feel like the box before that also had a book in it, right? The Candle Magic box. So I'm trying to like sneak in a book here and there with the boxes, just because, the best of all the worlds. Okay, Mimsy. The bury in the end of Glastonbury is the vowels are like burial. That's what I thought. I thought it was Glastonbury, but then someone said it was Glastonbury. Listen, I'm not from there, so excuse me if I get it wrong, okay? I'll go from there. I'm glad that I'm tempting you. Woohoo! Curls, I agree with you. Okay, this sounds too absolutely amazing. Okay, yes, I need a passport already. Everybody needs a passport. You never know when you have to run. Okay, this is like the Cuban and me talking. I was born in the United States, but my parents are refugees from Cuba from like the revolution, and I've always had that kind of like ancestral trauma or that generational trauma of like, you never know when you got to bail from your home. You never know, man. Get a passport. Just have it. It's kind of a cool thing to have anyway. It doesn't take a whole lot of work, really. I think it costs, you have to pay, but it's a nominal fee, if I'm not mistaken. You gotta take a picture. Get a passport, no matter what. You never know. Also, because there's a beautiful place in Canada that I want to do a retreat at, so people are gonna need their passport to get into Canada. So get a passport. Get a passport. Yeah, for sure. There's always just having the one book. Callum says, I definitely be doing my best to attend, even if I have to take a few sick days off work or something. This is too good to miss. Again, what I want to share, and I don't have, we're ready to run. That is my husband, by the way, John Brown. Yes, we are ready to run. We both have our passports, and we're like, basically, yeah. I want to say this. I don't know the name of the website. But there's a goddess conference going on in Glastonbury. I think it's the last week of August. My intention is to go to that. I haven't actually gotten my ticket. I need to look at it, but my intention is to go to that, and then maybe do like a team witchery like attendance to that, and then we would roll right into. I'd probably take a day or two off, and then roll right into that first retreat. And then if we can make a second retreat happen, we'll make a second retreat happen as well. People are welcome to go to both. You don't have to. But that's kind of like the outline of the plan. But for those of you who are interested and making it like a major vacation, if you're not in Europe already, if you're in Europe, it's close, you can totally do it. But I hear that this conference is pretty epic. It's huge. I think it's a several day thing, at least 2 days on a weekend. That said, my intention, and I know that weekends work a little different sometimes in Europe, but it'll be like a Thursday through Monday, a Thursday through Tuesday, so that people don't have to take many, many, many days off of work. But if my husband's still here, he can attest. Our theory is this: if I'm going to get on a plane and drive and fly somewhere for 10 hours, I need to stay for more than 3 days. Like, it needs to be like a significant stay to make it worth like that investment in travel. So think about that as well. But this is why also we're putting the dates out in the next couple of weeks so people can plan. They have ample time to plan all of that stuff. Curls and Pearls, any books on familiars? There are 2 books on familiars that are fairly old. Not old, but older. And I know that one of them is by like a really well-known author. I want to say it's DJ Conway, but I could be wrong. I don't know the names off the top of my head, but there are 2. I think they're both put out by Llewellyn. There are at least 2 that I can think of. Am I going to send out books on familiar? I could. I'd have to figure out like what the theme of the box would be, but that can happen. But if you're just interested in books on familiars, check out Llewellyn and write the word familiars in their little search box, and some things will come up. At least 2 that I can think of, even though I can't remember the name of the books. The Reading Writing Puppet says, as a Mexican American, I also have the fear of you never know when to run from countries. I mean, right? You never know. You never know. So yeah, I live with that. You never know. You might have to. You don't want to. You might love your country, but shit can get crazy really quickly. Things are kind of getting really crazy really quickly. And you never know when you have to like. And for those of us who are in the United States, one of the biggest privileges that, you know, we're really deeply, very privileged and fortunate. Most countries will take us for a good chunk of time without having to have a visa. Not all countries, but most. We have the privilege of being able to land somewhere. Like I can land in England and hang out for 90 days without having a visa of any sort. We can land, and I believe it's true of like most of Europe, we can land for 90 days and then leave. So if you have the privilege, take advantage of the privilege. That's all I'm saying. You never know. I think that the US citizens can also land in Mexico unless something's changed. And I could be in Mexico for 6 months without a visa. So, you know what I mean? Like, have a plan. Have a plan. That's all I'm saying. Hold on. I lost my place. Yeah, Canada is amazing. This particular place is so beautiful. My dad survived. This is Mimsy. My dad survived the Holocaust. No other family. So your explanation explains a lot for me. Marie, I'd be up for it for a future retreat in Canada, right? Well, hi, you're there. You're there. It would be the place that I'm thinking of is on Bowen Island in Vancouver. It's just so beautiful. Yeah, I gotta figure out a way to make that happen. And not when it's like 1,000 feet of snow, because there's also that. How do you find out about these conferences? Claudia, Instagram. You know, we follow a lot of different people who will post about their conferences. Also over time, because of like our relationship with authors and different people who do their own conferences, we just find out that way. And then we just kind of like keep track of things. A lot of the authors like Matt Aron or Jason Miller, who else? Laura Tempest Zakharoff, all of them speak at a lot of different conferences. And so because we follow their accounts, we'll know, oh, so-and-so is going to speak at this thing. There's a thing going on. So like that, it's really just kind of out there in the socials. Mimsy says, hello, John. Welcome to Elena's husband. Welcome to Elena's husband to the group. Yeah. He's out doing some kind of yummy manly thing, like with a saw. And I guess still listening. Oh, he's still here. Hi. John is brave being in the group. He's a brave dude. He can hang. Lauren Berg says, please do. I want to do some narrow boating in England. I don't know what narrow boating is. What does that mean? Mimsy, I'm one of those people who needs travel recovery time, getting there and getting back for sure. And when it's that kind of like, we haven't traveled in many years now because of COVID, but we are pretty extensive travelers. And so like when people say, oh my God, it's a 5-hour flight, it's so long, I'm like, 5 hours is nothing, because just from LA to England, it's easily a little bit over a 12-hour or no, 11-hour flight, 11-hour flight. That can take a toll. And then when you're like crossing time zones like that, the jet lag can be really intense. And so like building in recovery time is always important. Oh, baby. Okay. Nomadic 90-day life would be interesting. We've done nomadic 90-day life. It is interesting. Jennifer, I'm so close to Bowen Island. Please do. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. Hi to my Canadian girl contingency out there. Oh, that's sweet, you guys. I found it and it has a picture of a pancake on it. Wait, you found what? What did you find? Lauren Berg says narrowboating is riding the canals in a boat that is narrow. You can hire one. No boating experience needed. Where? I'm gonna write that down. That would be so fun. But where in England do you do that? Narrow boating. You can do such fun things. And Mitten Fairy says there is just nothing like being among like-minded magical souls, especially in person. I know, that's the thing. That is honestly, I mean, I've always known this, right? Whenever I get together in a circle with other people, it's always so profoundly transformative. But we've been like apart, all of us, for a very long time. And so when we did our first live retreat last spring, right? I think it was in March, maybe early April. It was like the witchy book retreat, right? Or the bookish witch retreat. And really, the only plan there was let's get together in a house and read amazing books and eat good food and just be together. And I knew that it would be amazing, but I didn't really know how amazing it would truly be. It was just, we were able to be in the same space and finally calibrate to our people in the same space in a way that was so deeply soul nourishing. It was like beyond what I was expecting in a really beautiful way. Everyone just kind of fell into sync with each other. Beautiful friendships were created where now people are seeing each other outside of that, like from different places. Now they've become friends, which I think is just so beautiful. And many of them said the same thing where it's like, there's no code switching, right? We're all having the same language. We're all talking about the same things. We all vibe the same way. It really is a necessary thing. It's one of the things that I know, we've talked about this before, is missing in a lot of the witchcraft community because we have so many different traditions and we don't have a church on every corner, so we don't see each other regularly the way other religions get to. And there's something so very powerful about just that energetic exchange of being in the same space together. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it, which is another reason why, if now that things are like back to sort of normal, if you have an opportunity to go to something like Pagan Pride, which happens in a lot of major cities across the country, at least in the United States, I think that it also happens overseas as well, or you would get an opportunity to go to a conference. It's different than a retreat. It's not as intimate, but when you get to be in a space with that many witches, it is really very powerful and really healing. So if you get an opportunity to do that, I highly encourage you to do that. And the beauty of a conference is that there are classes going on. There's all sorts of discussions. There's also all sorts of shopping that goes on, and it's cheaper. So if you don't have necessarily the money to invest in a retreat, which takes time off of work, which means you might have to travel, which, can be expensive. I mean, that's just the truth. If you don't have the funds for that, finding a conference that you can go slip into and check out. Sometimes a conference is free. Sometimes it's like $25 to join or to like participate, or 35. Like, it's much more affordable. At least try to go once. Even if you're like me, who's like a raging introvert, there is something really powerful about being among your own in a really beautiful way. So highly encourage that. Is it 6 months, Cheryl? I thought it was 90 days, but hey man, I'm down with the 6 months. The Mysterious Magical Cat by got it. There's a witchcraft museum 2 hours away from Glastonbury. See, there's so many things that we can do. Actually, I think I know that because Emily went to that museum, I think, for her birthday. Callum, fair warning for any potential narrow boaters. The canals aren't particularly clean water, but that's fairly standard. Also, the controls for the rudder are reversed, left, right, vice versa. If we do that as a group, we're going to hire someone to do that. I'm not going to take everyone's life into my hands by trying to boat people. No. Men Fairy, I've been needing a retreat like this. It has been a few years since I've been able to attend an in-person retreat that I don't have to work at. Well, I love it. Yeah. That's the beauty too. We're taken care of. We go to a place and someone's cooking for us. We just kind of get guided. It's really, I mean, I'll be doing the guiding, but you'll be getting guided. So there you go. Laurenberg, have been thinking about building a site like that for a while. Beautiful, Minzy. Okay, Minferry, yes. Beautiful. Okay, now I don't even know what that's in reference to. Oh, got it, got it. That's a boat reference. Sorry, Callum, you kind of lost me there, but now I got it now. The reading writing puppet. My friend just opened a witchy church. Beautiful. She has a spiral labyrinth for meditation and everything. Oh, I love a good labyrinth. Marie, there's a witchy event in Montreal called Witch Please. I didn't know there were that many witches around here. That sounds so cute. Witch Please. I'm gonna write that down. See, there's so many. I mean, we might you know what might be a really good idea? Um our witches gathering forum. We might need a thread. I'll put together a thread on the Witches Gathering forum, which is free for anyone. You just need to log in, create a login for it, where we have one thread that maybe lists all the different conferences that we know of, so people can kind of look at it as a resource and check those things out. That'd be really great, because I think it's really, especially now that we're getting a chance to get out again and be around among humans, it'd be nice to connect that way. You learn so much and you meet so many different people. And even if you don't have like lifelong lasting friendships forever, it's really an expansive experience to have. And just the feeling of, oh my God, I'm not alone. Oh my God, there's so many of us. It's a really powerful thing. So John Brown also seconds that. UK is 6 months for US citizens. Schengen zone is 90 days. I got those confused. I'll captain the boat. Mimsy writing okay, Lauren, sorry that I killed my original post. That's okay. Reading, writing. Okay, you guys are talking to each other. That's great. And it's also 2:03. So if there is a last burning question, comment, do it now, because in about 4 minutes, Mama's out of here. I gotta go into my day. But then remember that tomorrow at 10 a.m. we have a live for the Witches Box, the Throwing the Bones. We'll be talking about Throwing the Bones tomorrow. You're welcome to join us. It'll be a live stream here on YouTube. And we'll do a Samhain related themed something on Friday for our guided meditation. That's it. I think that's all I have to say about that. I know that there was another announcement, but I don't remember what it was. Okay. Yay. Thank you for being here. As always, I will be here next Tuesday for live. I want to remind you all that I said this last week. It may have been on Friday. It may have been on Tuesday. I don't remember. I'm going dark the month of December on YouTube, so there won't be anything happening on YouTube in December. I might actually make that happen a little sooner. So like the week before Thanksgiving in the US, I might go dark then, just so I have the holidays and be with family and do all the things and not, I just won't be able to handle all of it at the same time. And I need a rest. So that I'll announce for sure what those dates are in the next coming week. And then also we'll post it to our little community chat space here on YouTube so that you know, and then I'll also send a newsletter out about that. But just to prepare you that I won't be around for the last month and a half-ish of the year. Here. I'll be around elsewhere, but I won't be here. And then I'll definitely still do the live for the box at the end of November and the live for the box at the end of December. Okay. All right. Love to all of you. Have a wonderful week. Hopefully I'll see most of you, if not all of you, tomorrow. And someone texted me. We are out. We sold out of the Throwing the Bones box, so you can't get it if you didn't get it. But we can talk about where to find bones and things like that tomorrow when we do our live. How does one get from London to Glastonbury? Train. Although I think that there's also an airport down south in England. I'm not sure. I don't know if John's still here. I don't remember how we actually got. Oh, we drove. We rented a car and drove. I don't know that I recommend that. John drove. I did not. It's hard on the other side of the road situation. I can't even. And England has like a whole squiggly line thing on their roads. I don't. It's really confusing. But you can take a train. You can take a bus. And I don't know that there's an airport down south, so I'll have to find that out as well. But all of that information will definitely be given for people who are registering for the retreat, and by that point, I'll know exactly how to get there. All right. Have a wonderful evening, day, afternoon, whatever's going on for you, and I will hopefully see you all tomorrow and on Friday. Take care. Bye.